Hi, welcome again to another episode of Mommy and I with me, Damilola. How are you doing? I hope that your day is going well. Today on Mommy and I, we'll be talking about something very important, as well as, I don't want to say something we don't look up, like we don't consider important, but it is important and an eye-opening as well for parents, because I fall in that category as well. And I had to do a test on that yesterday, and I realized that, I was missing out. I had another interpretation for the topic we're going to talk about today, and I hope that at the end of this discussion, you're able to also realize that if you were in my category before you give your life to changing it, not give your life to Jesus now, give your life to understanding the topic, you realize that there's so much to allowing your children do these things that we are talking about. And I will not be doing the talking alone. I have with me my co-anchor, beautiful, elegant, children advocate, fighting for the truth. See, you cannot know her and not let me just leave it to her. Welcome with me, Feoluwadaya and Turatola.
Oh, thank you. You called her whole name. Wow. Thank you. Hello, everyone. How you doing? Thank you so much for your responses on the previous video. Hope you're doing fine. So today we're going to be talking about something very important. And I think I'll leave Dami to mention it first before we now go into the nitty-gritty of the topic.
Drum roll. Okay. So today we're talking about the power of play. Did you roll your eyes? No, don't. Yes, there's power in play. So we're talking about the power of play today. And like I said earlier, for me, I actually didn't think, like, when she was on a birth topic, so kudos to her. So when she brought the topic, I'm like, power of play. Which one is this one again? So I decided to check, and I was like, oh, okay. And I'm sure that, as I said, I'm sure that many of us fall in this category, because in our mind, we feel like we don't associate playing with learning. We always feel like when the child plays, there's nothing that he or she's gaining. They're just wasting time. We just see it as whiling away their precious time, and they should be learning or doing other things. And that is where we miss it. Playing is learning as well.
Yes.
So when a child is playing, there's so many things your child will learn while they're playing. And that is what we'll be talking about today, how powerful playing is for every child. And it is actually very important from the early stage. And when I was making my research, I found out that, in short, if you are going to be checking for schools for your children, they said it is important that you ask them that, do you allow for room for play in your school, or is just read, structure, yes, just basic academics, there's no room for play. That is very important. And, when I did that research, I had to be asking my son yesterday, do you people play?
So in my children's school, my son is still in preschool. My daughter is in the basic now, so she's the time for play is a little bit, reduced. Oh. But for my son in the preschool, from 12 o'clock, they are done.
Okay.
They'll just play, eat, sleep if they want. They just circle time, they read, whatever. But it's nothing structured. It's nothing, planned within the curriculum. No. Nothing like that. And it's very important. And like you said, a lot of us, we really don't know how big of a deal playing is for children. Children need it. Children need to play. And from now on, I don't want us to see it as something that you used to while away time, or something that that I don't want you to see it as something messy, because that's
another thing.
So another thing is, some parents see the playtime as a messy period, so they don't want a child to play because they don't want him to create a mess. Yeah, so I usually tell people that if you have OCD, for instance, I mean, you're going to have a very hard time raising toddlers, especially toddlers, because that's the age where they need to play as much as possible, before they start getting to the preteen stage, or before they start, let me even say, before they get to the maybe 7+.
Yeah.
And, their time is limited, their playtime is limited, they have more activities to do.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is not in any way to undermine the condition, because people who deal with OCD are going through a lot as well. But I mean, the point I'm just trying to make is, if you are very finicky, you don't want to make a mess.
Everything should
You
be
want
correctly.
I know somebody who told me that they just got married. I think got married last year. He told me his wife can clean the house 10 times.
Oh, wow.
And I just, mindlessly said, wait till you have children. If I had said this before, I realized that if it's not everybody you can be saying this kind of things to, because it's not everybody that really understands
how it is,
and it's not everybody that would not be too sensitive and take your joke. But I just said it mindlessly that wait till you have children, because children will make a mess. But that is where they learn. Learning a lot. Exactly. Albert Einstein, referred to children as the first scientists. They are the real scientists.
They're the ones that discover.
Because they discover. While they're playing, they're exploring.
Yeah.
They don't need a textbook or a manual or any blueprint before they play and before they start to discover new things through play. They don't need it at all. They don't need any blueprint. They don't need any structure, nothing. So, so playing, it helps to, there's a word I'm trying to look for now, but it expands their imagination.
Yeah.
It expands their
Probably when you're playing the imaginary.
Yes. That imaginary pretend play. We are still coming to that, The pretend play, there's a particular age that starts, maybe from like 5 above. That's when they pretend play that. So somebody is there pretending to have
Thanks, friend.
It's like I also remember one time we're going to school, and that thing in the middle, that cup holder in the middle.
Yeah.
My daughter was saying that my son should not put it down, and then I said, why? I said my imaginary friend is sitting. The Christian mom, the Yoruba mom in me is like, go for it.
No,
God, that choice is imaginary friend, but. I had also, I also understood that it comes with this stage. So now she's, pretending that there's somebody there around her, that she's playing with, aside it's her brother, even though she has been begging me that she wants a baby sister. Like, please, no. So I understood what that meant for her, so I didn't bug her. I just told her to please ask her imaginary friend to stand up and shift so that her brother could sit there, the one you can see him, the real life friend. So it comes with its own advantages.
Yeah.
One of the advantages for me, one of the reasons why I would encourage children to play, apart from the fact that they're learning a lot, is how play helps them to develop social skills.
Yeah.
I've been to families, I've visited families rather, and you will know a child that doesn't
play. Yeah.
You know a child that doesn't.
They have a routine. They follow.
Exactly.
More like they've given them a schedule. This is how
it should.
They come to you. Good morning, and then
even without creating a schedule. Yeah, the fact that they are restricted
already have.
Yeah, so there's a pattern that you just know that this child does not play. This child does not have the access to playing around. There's a family I know. They live in a very big house. They have a very big compound that can conveniently take about 4 cars. But I am not even lying. God sees my heart that I'm not lying. I think I've seen those children play outside, inside the compound. It has gates. I think I've seen those children play outside maybe 3 times.
Oh, wow.
And it always hurts me.
Why are you kidding them?
My God, if I had this kind of space, my children, they only come inside to sleep. Because there's so much to do.
Yeah.
You have the space. There is so much to do. Because you see this play thing that we're talking about, I'm sure a lot of parents watching will be like, it's easy for you to say because... No, that is easy for us to say because we live in houses where they are secure. Because there's some places you go to that you can't allow your child to go out to play. You get? There's some areas that, yeah, for safety, and then it's never going to be comfortable, especially people whose houses are just by the main road, like you're crossing into from the express, I mean from the road, you are just jumping into your house, you know. It's not safe, even for the family. It's not safe, let alone for the children. So yes, it's sometimes you would, yeah, but that is a major constraint. So I totally understand. But even inside the house, you can create an environment that makes it okay, comfortable for these children to play. I tell people, if I have a guest coming to my house and you are uncomfortable with the fact that there's a toy on the floor, or that they wrote pen on the chair, or there's something, Ogbeni been going to your house.
I mean, it comes with it.
Because that's the stage that I'm at right now. When they get to their pre-teens and teenage years, yes, start to tidy up. I mean, they can do whatever in their room, just tidy it, but let the rest of the house look good. But at this stage, at 6 and 4, we expect like the room to be clean.
There will always be a toy somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. So the social skills that they learn when they play with, especially with other children,
very important.
Other children. Have you had a situation where your son doesn't want to share his toy?
It doesn't come often because for him, naturally, he would tell you take.
That is 1 out of 10 children. Children don't like, they're very territorial.
Yeah.
Especially when they're between the ages of, let's say, 2 and 5. They're very, very territorial. They don't want anybody touching their stuff. Yeah. So they want to play with you. And it's very, these children. So they're playing with another child with the same toy. And all of a sudden, it's just click that, I'm the owner of this toy. I want my toy back. And this same child that you were loving up to, you guys suddenly start to fight. And then you, the mom, come, stop doing that. Why are you fighting? It's completely normal. But the only way, or rather, I would say one of the ways that can be managed is if you keep encouraging your child to play with other children.
So they learn to share.
Yeah, they learn to share. They learn to take turns as well.
Yeah, that's what
they learn to take turns. So at that point, you can start to teach some values. Okay, you know what? This pink, another thing with the colors. So they can fight. There might be different types of toys, and they are fighting over one particular color. So you have to explain and speak English and do motivational speech.
Yeah,
and do
why every color is
life lessons, or why they should manage, they should try, you keep doing that over and over again. At some point, they will get it, right? But when you isolate them, they can't play outside, they can't play with their neighbors, they can't play with anybody. Gone are those days where we used to play with neighbors. I grew up playing with neighbors. I had a lot of friends as a child.
We grew up playing outside.
Now, I mean, it's hard. The last long holiday, my neighbors' children were around, grandchildren were around. And, when I realized that they had children at the other side, I allowed Toki and Yanni to play outside. So they only used to talk
from the
fence. From that, our small tiny gates. They only used to talk from there. And I got concerned one day, like, do you want to go over? Toki said yes. I knew the grandma would not want them to come over because we're not that close. But I was like, look, what's the worst that can happen? So I took them. Grandma, good afternoon. How are you now? And she said, okay, that they can play outside. And she also wants to stay outside to take fresh air, so she will watch them go and do what you are doing.
Gracious, Grandma.
Thank you, Grandma. I ran inside. And I didn't go back to get them till about 6:30. They had fun. And then it became a routine every day. So we did that for like 3 days or so. Then the grandma now thought,
it's comfortable to send them over.
Send them to the other side. And that's how it is. So when they come for holidays, they're always shouting, Toke. They'll shout Toke from their window. So that Toke knows that they're around. I don't have a problem with that. I don't think grandma wants to eat them. I don't think, but I give my children rules. Don't eat anything, don't drink anything. If you've been given anything, come and show me. If you're hungry, come home. And then, so until I get to a place of comfort where I know that, okay, grandma can feed you, you know. So, but I know that this is not the reality of many people.
Yeah.
You get. But if this is your reality, you have people around that your children can play with, please, let them play. Let them play. They're learning. They'll learn a lot. They'll learn also how to control their emotions.
Yeah.
Because no child is born with a proper understanding of how to feel. It is experience that teaches them these things. So it is from playing with another child and getting upset at that child. That is where you come in to say, oh, this person upset you because you took his toy or you took your toy. This is how you manage it, you know. So when you start to explain to the child that this is how to behave, this is what you should do, it gets better with time. They are more tolerant.
They're able to handle.
They're able to handle it. Yes, the emotions. They're able to handle it when somebody takes their toy. So now sometimes when somebody takes something that belongs to my son will come and meet me first. Mommy, Miracle took something that does not belong to you. I'll say, sorry, is it your own? Yes. Do you want to play with it? Yes. Okay, let Miracle have it for a while. I'll come back and, you know. So that way they're able to manage. They don't just throw tantrums and cry.
Yeah.
I remember my daughter used to cry a lot over little things.
Really?
What's going on today? Why you always cried? She cries a lot over little things. But I started to allow one of our friends, Nimi, come over. Nimi comes over a lot. She goes to Nimi's place a lot. Both of them are girls. Both of them like the same things. So sometimes they will fight. Myself and Nimi's mom will just carry our faces to this. Where you will say to it. And it's all this tiny. Nimi is looking at me. Toke stepped on my leg. What is girls are going to fight? But you just get involved. You are the bad person because you give them like 2-3 minutes.
They're back.
Give them 3 minutes and they're back to being friends. So imagine that I keep Toke indoor all the time. Don't play with anybody. There's no. So by the time she has to go out,
she'll find it
find it difficult to communicate and feeling to socialize. Exactly. And let me see what are there are many benefits too. In fact, even their physical development. If your child is indoor all day pressing the phone, the last time we talked about basics.
Yeah.
We have a lot of obese children these days, and unfortunately, very unfortunately, parents think that the fatter your child is, the wealthier you are. So it's because you're giving them Kellogg's and chocolate that you're killing your child. Diabetes is waiting for that child. Children have diabetes these days, and I'm wondering how. So you let them play. Take away these things. Take them away. Time it when they need to. I mean, sometimes, even though I have a no TV rule till weekend, sometimes during the week,
you will still allow.
I still allow it. Or sometimes as a reward for something that they've done. I say, okay, you know what? There's a cartoon I want you to watch. And I give them my laptop and they watch. And after that, I close it. You get? No, but let them go out. Let them play. Gross and fine motor skills are developed when they play.
That's why you talked about when, especially for the early stage.
Yes.
When they tell you that allow them to play, then the one you would say, no, let's just be carrying the child. Let's, put the child down.
That really kind of gets to me too when I see you have a baby that is crawling already and ready to stand. And every minute the baby is on your leg.
Let the child stay on the floor.
The most important thing is create an an environment that is safe.
You can put a
mat. All. Put a mat. Take away electrical appliances. Take away pins, needles, anything that can injure the child. Let the child explore. Then the thing is, it's always painful, and it's all these bougies, all we bougie bombs that do that.
Don't carry the child. I don't want the child be on the floor. Is the floor dirty?
Dude, your child needs to have contact with dirt so that it will build the immunity of the child. Every minute paracetamol, every minute antibiotics is because there's nothing fighting anything. And there's nothing to fight if you don't even allow them to touch these things. Just make sure that it is safe. That's it. Just make sure it is safe. I don't understand why we're always caging them. You cage them at home, you cage them in the car, you cage them in church, you cage them everywhere, and you'll be wondering. And you see, that's why children abroad, they don't start schools until about 6, ish. But that period before school, even school is playtime, but that period before school, they don't joke with it. It's time for them to just go outside, go on the slides, just just have fun, because it is fun to you, but it is learning to them. It's learning. You know, I was talking about the gross and fine motor skills. It is at the stage of playing that those things are developed. I don't know if they did it in your son's school, but there's a time that my son's teacher told us to get pegs. And she said that I should get a box with these pegs and ask my son to peg the box round. The reason was because they were preparing him to start writing. Yeah. But his wrist was not ready. So they needed him to do that activity so that, you know, the muscles that are here will start to function properly. So when he starts to write, he won't have difficulty holding a pen or a crayon or a pencil and all of that. You don't need to wait for your child's teacher to tell you to do that. At home.
If they are the room for, yeah.
Exactly. And I actually understand, because that was the time that I was actively at work. So there wasn't time. I didn't think, at that point, I wasn't thinking about how to make him able to play. I was just thinking of somebody that will hold him while I went, and then came back at 5, picked him up, is ready to sleep and all of that. So when he got to school, that was the first challenge he had. Yeah. That was the first challenge, and it could have been avoided if I'd known back then. That's why even the schools you take your children to, you have to open your eyes and open your ears. You know what to look out for. You asked a question the other time, or you said something about having playtime.
Yeah.
In schools. Yeah, it's very.
Like talking about school. In fact, having room for playtime.
Room for play. Yes. In fact, two things you should look out for in a school: their playground. Not a ceremonial playground.
What if the school doesn't have a playground?
That is it. A school should have a playground. It's because of the country we are in.
These days,
they don't
have them.
I'm doing a course at the moment.
Yes, isn't?
Yeah, and that's one of the things that they keep telling us, that it's because of the way the country is, and we have people who, you know, maybe the Ministry of Education,
regulated bodies.
Yeah, regulated bodies who are supposed to check these things. If you are starting an early years school, that's a school for 0 to 5 years, and you don't have sand, you don't have space for them to run around. There is no grass. There is no, you know, natural stuff around. You should not open that school. You don't just start a school because you have space. You have the money.
Yeah.
And there are many things to look out for when starting school. Somebody was telling me the other day that in our school they have to pay a water tank to bring water into the school. And my antennas went up. So there's an emergency. First of all, if your children go to schools like that, it's okay. You just know that it is not village people that are causing the typhoid and cholera.
Yeah.
Village people, they are absolutely,
because that
nothing to do.
Cannot be clean.
Why would a school not have water?
You have children there.
And you have children. You have children in early years. It's not a secondary school.
They would definitely mess up that place.
So a child has kata. How do you clean up? The child goes to the toilet to poop. How do you clean up? You have to. What if the water tank doesn't bring water on that day?
What if there's
it could be anything. And then how long do you even preserve water in those drums that you keep using for these children? My head went kablooey that day. Like, how exactly are people paying school fees in a school like this? They have water. That's the reality. But it's not meant, it's not meant to be so.
Like if the regulated bodies are doing
their thing. So that's why also for playtime also in schools, even when they go to school maybe at the age of 2 or 3, anything after 11 o'clock, stop all the school activities and let them just run wild. Let them play around. That's why the Montessori system is play-based. So the Montessori system, even if they don't, of course, they must go out. That one is a standard. But inside,
there's still a lot of
indoor activities that you don't need to say, or go this way. Okay, good. No, it just comes naturally to them. They just go, pick. They're allowed to sit, to play, to do anything. There's no time. It's just be closing. Just do what you want. The teacher, the Montessori term is director or directress. So the directress is supposed to just guide and take notes, just observe.
I also think that playing is important because, I mean, it's at that point to be able to identify some of the likes and dislikes of